GT4 series here at the Austrian. I already messed it up. I am Cypher77 and I am here with
Kieran McGinley. Don't worry, Cypher. We've all messed it up at one point in our life. You're not the first, you won't be the last. But at a track that I know of, you know, Formula One's here and has been since it became the Red Bull Ring, of course. And looking forward to some exciting racing today, that's for sure.
Spielberg, that's what I was trying to think of. Though that's where the track is located. But anyways, so yes, we're here at the Red Bull Ring, here for some more GT4 action here at round 6. And so yeah, we're gonna see the best of the best of GT4 go head to head once more today.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm looking forward to it. And we saw Slim there just going into the gravel off at turn 6, and Cypher and I were sort of discussing, is it 9 corners, is it 10? I think we mutually agreed that it was 10 corners, even though I think there's 8, you know.
Well, it was only around a year or so ago that the FIA decided that the kink going uphill, you'll see it just around here, but this kink here, they've decided to officially declare it as a turn. So see it as you may, that's kind of the distinction between whether it's 9 or 10 turns. Yeah, this right here apparently counts as a turn, but for now we're just going to agree that this track has 10 turns, and this is now officially turn 3. This GTS goes through right there.
Run down here isn't the counter, it's turn 4. It's right hand just after this is now turn 5 as GTS goes past his teammate Javier. Yeah, just it's braking, running a little bit too deep, but until in the end now coming to this long right hander, I should say. Even I'm making mistakes, Cypher. As we now run up towards turn 6 and 7.
Yes, you can see the high elevation change on this track is very high up compared to where these drivers start, but we don't suspect it'll have too much an effect on the engines of these cars. It's, as you can clearly see, all straight line speed all day, very different from Barcelona, which was mostly all turns. So with the heavy emphasis on speed, we see probably the drivers maxing out the top speed of these cars, maybe gearings.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys can do, and obviously Javier as well. There's only one race weekend he hasn't got the perfect hat-trick on, and that was Daytona, where he didn't win the race. That's the only one. At every other track, he's had the fastest lap, he's had the race win and pole position, so he really is the man to beat. And obviously last time I couldn't be here, Cypher, so just explain to everybody what happened, and mainly to me, because I missed it.
Oh, well, you missed a decently interesting race. Some things to note from that race, actually. Joe Black will be sitting out a little bit of, I believe, practice and a little bit of qualifying for his race incident at Spain. I believe All-Star will also have a similar sort of penalty for this race, but last time it was actually Husa scoring his first podium of the season in the Ginetta, which is very surprising considering he came from 12th on the grid to do it. Other notables, Ryan was able to get second place during that race. He more or less was able to kind of sneak around everyone else's problems, but unlike Spain, we expect the KTMs to be quite off the pace here, considering the heavy speed deficit shown quite earlier in the season at tracks like Daytona.
And it is a track that, relating it back to Formula 1, has always been engine dominant, but also why is that downforce? And of course these GT4 cars don't have a lot of it, but the KTM in the past has proven to be pretty nifty through the corners, so maybe coming into, you know, the latter end of sector 2 into sector 3, it might have an advantage heading into turns 4 through 7 there.
Well, this track is all about carrying speed off of some of these really tight corners. If you can't carry the speed, then the cars behind you will get the ever-important slipstream and will be able to pass you pretty quickly here. It's a very heavy braking zone. Drivers will be braking down to pretty much first gear going through there.
Right now, down towards turn 4. It's having a little bit of lobby issues at the moment. Luckily, it is only practice for now. So we'll fly down towards turn 4, and it's always a tricky braking zone. This one, it's downhill just as you start to brake. Very easy to lock the brakes at that point. When you go uphill, as we are heading towards turn 6 and 7. Let's see how the KTM handles these corners. It's always been a strength in this KTM, the handling of this car. And you just see Ryan there using that right-hand side of the track. He's 2/10 up on his previous best so far. Runs onto the curb there. Onset of the car slightly, doesn't look like it though. And then you're going up this big hill here. You can't really see turn 9 until you get towards the braking zone here. Towards that awkward pit lane entrance. Really just mounting that curve into turn 9, coming around turn 10 now. To plant the power. Cameras away from you towards the line then. Brian Ruby, will he go better on that lap? I believe he didn't quite invalidate. In fact, yeah, I'm just seeing the bottom right hand corner in the race feed. Yes, that time was invalidated.
It's invalidated, but he definitely can go faster. Right now, Javier, the only driver to set times in the 136. We expect times around probably 136, 137-ish, as now Bowie heads up to second with the 137.3. The other KTM surprising, but it is only practice, so we have yet to see some of these guys' true pace. But as you look at Red here, who had his work cut out for him at Spain, was caught battling his teammate for most of the race more than he would like to. So with that, we'll hopefully see if he can make any sort of recovery, because he is still in the championship hunt.
Absolutely. And, well, obviously he didn't have the greatest time. He's 40 points behind Javier as he heads towards Austria. And right is 1.7 seconds down. Obviously we know that Porsche is quick in a straight line. And he's going now in turn 4, now coming towards turn 5. It's a short, sharp track, Cypher. I'm pretty sure you've raced here before, and it's all about ironing out those mistakes, because a tenth of a second and 2/10 is all the difference here.
Well, from personal experience, I've only ever raced here in an F1 car, unfortunately, and well, F1 cars can take some of these turns in around 150 miles per hour maybe, but for these guys, you're definitely right, considering that there is a heavy emphasis of carrying your speed through some of these long winding turns, especially to this last turn, turn 10, because then you get the ability to make some passes here. Austria is an interesting track in terms of passing. You can definitely make moves here, but as you see coming into turns like turn 1, it kind of bends in on itself. It doesn't give a lot of room for sort of like side-by-side action throughout the corner. So these guys will definitely have to make moves in very specific places, probably turns 3 and 4 maybe.
I'm looking forward to this race, because obviously it's a short, sharp track, and overtaking opportunities are pretty open. I mean, you've got the run up towards turn 1 if you're feeling brave. You've got turn 3 as well, which is the heaviest braking zone. To see the check flag come out for this 5 minutes of practice, and you've also got the run in towards turn 4. Now, in these cars here, trying to make a move through turn 6 and turn 7, it's probably not the best idea in the world. But you know, in these first couple of laps, don't be surprised to see them try and run too wide through there. As we see one of the cars just taking out the cones there on the entrance of turn 7. That little bit of tarmac on the red right-hand side as you just turn into turn 7, it might be used more and more as you head towards qualifying.
Well, they'll definitely be trying to use as much as possible, but the I don't want to say the lenient track limit gods will be very lenient this race, considering There's quite a lot of runoff here, but doesn't mean these guys can use it.
Absolutely. And there's someone we haven't seen in this practice session so far, one of the Mustangs. That's Max P there. He's way through turn 8 now, right on that curve. And it's been a pretty hot and cold start of the season for the Mustangs.
Well, they've definitely been getting hotter considering recent performances, but they are in a sort of class of their own. They definitely need to sort of make an identity for themselves, considering the Porsches, the Astons, and the KTMs have all shown some outstanding performances, so who knows, their time in the spotlight may be coming sooner rather than later.
And there's your practice results then. Bowie is 0.8 of a second behind Javier there, with Red in 3rd, and then that's Slim in 4th, Fraser in 5th. We didn't actually see him for the entire session. That's Snaker in 6th there, and the results are gone. We head straight into qualifying.
So if you want to put up the chat, maybe see if there's anyone who's asked any sort of questions. Well, I personally myself have a sort of challenge that I'd like to issue when we get to the race, but I'll hold that for a secret later.
Oh, why a secret later? Why not now?
If I tell you now, then it'll be too obvious.
No, but I like obvious. Obvious means I know now. By the way, GTS is struggling to get back into the lobby as his all-star. I wonder here if they will make it back. Hopefully they will, because although Javier seems pretty happy on its own out there, he will be hard to GTS can come back here and score some decent points for the team.
Well, yes, I believe Bowie actually didn't make the race in Spain. He'll be trying to make it this week, actually. But, yeah, 15 minutes. It's not as long of a time as, say, Catalunya, so these guys definitely can set a lot more laps.
Yeah, and as Bowie, you can see there, 23.7 litres of fuel at the moment. So he's definitely thinking maybe 3-4 laps around this track. And I suppose you could do that with the tyres. You don't take too much out of them in these cars. You could probably do 2 or 3 laps in them with relatively similar pace.
Sure, well, it all comes down to if he can actually hold the speed together throughout all 10 of these turns. And KTM definitely has to work a little bit harder than everyone else this weekend.
I wonder here if the team have set up that car to just be a little bit lower, running slightly lower to the ground to try and maximise and make it as slippery as possible down the straights, because they've already got that great handling in that car, all thanks to its short wheelbase. And I'm thinking here that they'll try to make that car as slippery as possible.
It definitely looks decently stable. He's gotten through these turns pretty well, although he's definitely running a little bit more conservatively, probably still heating up the tires around here. He's got both Aston Martins actually of Javier and GTS right behind him. They'll probably catch Bowie and will make things a little bit difficult for a qualifying lap, but right now they're actually getting a pretty good slipstream off of Bowie. We'll have to check that, see if any of these guys get slipstreams off of one another.
Down towards turn 7 here again. You can see just 2 wheels over that white line on the entrance into turn 7, and that curve into turn 8 there. As we run up the hill and then down the crest, down towards turn 9 here. You can see the brake lights here. What's interesting is that pit lane entrance. Now, of course, there are no mandatory stops in this series. However, especially in qualifying, if you're behind a car that's using the pit lane, they obviously go across the racing line to come into the pits. So you've got to be aware of that during qualifying as well. There's Bowie there. Set a 1:37.4. That is the first lap time of the evening. Comes up towards one of the Mustangs here. I'm just trying to figure out who that is. Well, Joe Black is in the pits there. So That looks like Maxley, and Barry goes across the grass there to try and overtake him as we head now towards turns 2 and 3. It's not the race just yet, boys. And uphill ascent now towards turn 3, and actually that battle's helped him. He's 900s up.
Well, yeah, that's what we were talking about. These cars can definitely get a pickup from one another, and that'll just help their lap times right now. There's got a whole cluster of these guys coming up the uphill straight.
As Barry's actually been disconnected.
No, he's still got time to get back in here, though. Crazy goes across the line right now, and no, he's going to start his lap now.
There's Baxley there, towards turn 7, turn 6 I should say. Now he's coming towards turn 7. And I said it at race 1, I'll say it now. I do like that livery of the Mustang there. Let's see if we can ride on board with one of the Aston Martins. There is Javier. He now makes his way across the side, so he's obviously abandoning that lap for whatever reason. Let's see if GTS here can set a better lap than he really has right now. So he now makes it towards turn 10 here.
He's very loose on the curbs, but he's had the slipstream of his teammate and Maxley the entire lap. But he'll come across the line to go 9 seconds faster, but it's only a 1:39 here. So
yeah, and that's still 2.9 seconds off of his teammate. So he's going to be struggling here. He needs to find that pace from somewhere. So Husa's just joined back, as I know it's just Husa for now. Here comes Julian towards the line, 2 points to his name this season so far. And then makes his way uphill towards turn 1 and the start of his flying lap in that Ginetta. Relatively narrow turn in, and he runs wide at turn 1. Almost decided to take the middle of the track there, bit of an odd line.
Is that a Baccarat just behind him?
Let's have a check. It is.
Yeah, it looked like he had a little bit of damage there.
Yeah, I can see it. Left hand side.
Actually,
of that car.
we have a car around in sector 2. I wonder, it's the car right in front of Ryan, actually. Oh, it's the Porsche of Beccaratis, I believe it is. Or not Beccaratis, no, blue Porsche.
I'm still learning.
I know, both of us. We'll get there eventually. But the point is, obviously an invalidated lap from him. Let's go on board with someone we haven't talked about in a while. Currently sitting in 5th right now, Snaker at a 1:38 right now. Kind of been the dark horse so far, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's looking here to try and pick up a good bunch of points. He makes his way now down towards turn 7. I'm having a look here at the standings, and I can't see Snaker on the driver's standings. So, is it his first race here in this series? I wonder.
I definitely recognize him, but if it is, then he's got a decent showing so far, considering he's 5th right now. So, it's likely be a start of things to see. He's got a huge gaggle of cars going up the back hill straight right now. There's a lot of cars trying to draft off of one another, actually.
There's a Ginetta in the background there.
That was Husa, and I believe Husa's coming across the last turn right now. But there was a KTM, a Porsche, and well, yeah, right there, pretty much. They're coming across the turn 6 right about now.
There is Crazer right now, who is 1.5 seconds off of Javier's time right now, and that looks like a bit of damage. That a bit of damage to the right-hand side bumper there? I think it is. There's just a little bit of a gap, a little bit more of a gap than there should be.
I just remembered who the blue Porsche was. I believe it was Alad's. So it took me so long to think of that.
Yeah, that's definitely a blue Porsche. There's something off there. just before the sector 3 line. It was. Yeah, it wasn't Fraser. It's always difficult to try and work out which car it is when all the dots look the same.
Oh,
there's All-Star in the wall.
Well, have to be careful backing up. You got cars coming across the final turn. Ooh, I believe that was Julian had to take evasive action there.
Yeah, that was All-Star on the exit of turn 9, and Crazy's got himself some sort of penalty there. You can see the red icon next to his name. That indicates a penalty of some sort being awarded. So is that going to be a one-place penalty?
So one of the cars to not set a lap time, although if you think that's bad, it's pretty much been a part of his strategy all season to start in the back, because somehow he always makes his way to the front. But he does manage to go 11th with a 141. Husa being one of the podium sitters last time by. Joe will likely start getting his lap times in, as we believe his penalty is now dissolved. And Javier is surprisingly disconnected as well.
Well, 4 minutes to go then. That's not what the championship leader wanted at all, and it's just, for whatever reason, we're not getting this this lobby right at the moment. It's a bit frustrating. That's sad then. Crazy.
Yeah, it's led to a really crazy shakeup. Javier will have to, obviously, well, he can get the lap in, but well, we'll have to see. His Slimstein runs very wide off the second to last corner, using every inch of the track, although I don't think this lap will count, as now Ryan has a penalty as well now.
Yeah, that looked like the lap didn't count there. Both the orange KTMs come out onto the track, and it's been a session really that's been dominated by the fact that people can't stay in this lobby. There are very few people now that have stayed in this lobby right now, and it must be frustrating when you're the driver here, and especially when you're Javier, because whether or not you get to keep that lap time heading towards the race is well, it's my guess anyway. I'm pretty sure everybody else would know what happens in that situation.
Yes, we'll now see pretty much everyone on track, because now no one is relatively safe actually. So expect to see all the drivers on track here. We're going to have what they call in F1, well, I don't think they call it that anymore, but we're going to see a bunch of fast times start to be pulled up here on the board here very soon.
I think they do call that, don't they? It's a very long name, but it's a name nonetheless.
For some reason I was thinking of what do they call it? I was thinking of happy hour for some reason. But that's also a NASCAR term and like an F1 term. Someone who knows what happy hour means in a racing sense, tell me.
I mean, happy hour for the next 3 minutes. It's a bit of a weird one. By the way, Javier has joined back into the race, and his previous lap time that put him on part wall has been taken away from him, so he's got to do it again. Now he's making his way through turn 10. I wonder if he's going to use his teammate here, Husa, to try and set some sort of lap time as Red goes top then. 1:37.3.
I mean, I think it'd make for a better race if Javier starts down the pack. I mean, obviously no bias or ill will, but I'd just say it'd make a more interesting race.
It would make a more interesting race for sure, but I don't think Javier will be standing for that. He's out on circuit right now, 2 minutes on the clock. As you've seen here, it takes just over 2 minutes to set a lap time. So Javier here will be able to set a lap time, but he'll only have one shot.
Right now, Red is in, so we suspect no more laps from him. Alex, who's brought himself back from the dead seemingly, considering that he was kind of nowhere at Spain, has gone 6th fastest here. Husa looks like he will stay in 10th for now, and looks like Joe Black will indeed start at the back. I thought it was actually a lighter penalty, but I assume it was not then, so he will start at the back for this race.
Here comes Snaker then, around the final corner. Just over a minute to go. Snaker makes his way around the final corner. Now towards the start-finish line. I wonder if this is going to be a lap he sets, or was this an outlap? As we see Mustang in the background as well crosses the line, and look to find out. Oh, this is the start of a brand new lap for him then, so he's timed it.
Ooh, very wide.
At turn 1.
So I don't think that will count. Javier, will he be able to get a good lap time in? I believe, okay, he did not actually, so this will be the last chance he gets. Ooh, very wide off the first corner. I wonder if that time will be invalidated actually.
Almost gone extremely wide at the back there.
I believe that was a max plea actually.
It was, yeah. And yeah, he's just come back to the pits. He knows he didn't get that lap right at all.
2 KTMs of Ryan fighting desperately to get in a good lap. Ryan and I believe his teammate in front of him, yeah.
Well, that is, that's going to be Bowie ahead of him. So it is. So the two teammates are working together here. And they're only separated by 2/10. Checkered flag comes out.
Well, if one of them's faster, then they gotta go. Right now, a bunch of people on the clock to set lap times right now.
I don't know if Bowie's trying to help Ryan here, or if he's trying to hinder him, but Ryan here runs a little bit wide in turn 7.
No, I think...
wonder here if he's just trying to... Yeah, 1.7 down.
I think Bowie's just faster, and Ryan didn't make it any better for him. Javier, we'll see if this lap actually counts for him. We'll see if the track limit gods want him to start up front or not. Going across the final turn now. Is it going to be a representative lap time from Javier, or will he start 15th?
Go then towards the line.
Second.
By 1/100th of a second.
And indeed, Bowie and Ryan do not improve their times either.
There's Julian. Ready to settle up. I believe he will be the last person to settle up as a second up. And at the moment, that's going to get him ahead of Max Plea at the moment. Coming up towards turn 9. Where can he put that Ginetta then? It's been a session full of lobby issues and people leaving and joining again. Ooh. And Snaker there runs wide, Julian, into turn 9, now into turn 10. Will this lap count as he makes his way down towards the start finish line? Can he get any higher than 13th place? He crosses the line.
Oh, it does count.
And it does, yes.
So
12th place for Julian.
So it'll be an all Mustang back row actually. So I think this is probably the first time that a manufacturer has both of their cars in the back row, but Crazy and Ryan have one place grid penalties for this race, so Bowie and Slimsign will gain additional spots.
Yeah, so Javier then obviously getting it wrong somewhere in his lap. And looking at the sector times there, it looked like sector 1 didn't get quite right. But at the moment then, Red is on pole position then.
I think it was just pressure. Javier was under a lot of pressure. But now as we head into the race, what's the chat saying?
Well, I think it's Julian saying yes, yes, yes. That's that's one of them.
Oh, Red is now out of this race.
Don't crack under pressure is what the sides are saying.
Well, I'd say the pressure is more of internet issues, but okay, well, as that glooming tension arises, the question I have in store is, who do you think is going to finish in 3rd place in this race?
Well, 3rd place is always an interesting one, isn't it? I think you've got the likes of Ryan Ruby and also Hooser as well, who loves to make it a challenge for himself. I mean, he's starting from 10th place at the moment, and he got plagued by those internet problems over 35 laps. I can see him carving his way through the field. It's going to be difficult because, of course, this is a power-dominated track, but maybe through the corners he might find himself a bit of a good chance.
Yes, those in the chat right now, place your picks. Who do you think will finish 3rd place in this race? And whoever manages to get it right, well, we'll see what happens in the end. But right now, as it stands, Javier will start on pole after Red's disconnection. kind of a weird turn of events, actually, considering that Javier moments ago was looking to set 15th on the grid.
Well, this is interesting now because although Javier is, you know, on pole position, he's actually not on the first grid spot. He's actually off the racing line, but I'll let you take it from here, Cypher.
That's right. Well, a bit of an odd grid to start here, but we go to 4 red lights for the Austrian Grand Prix. It is go, and that is crazy with a pretty decent start on Javier. However, I don't believe he will get in front of him. And it will be Bowie to block the inside from Beckeratis. Because meanwhile, we got a 3-wide situation of Slim Sign. Oh, that's the blue portion. That's Alids around. Or no, Beckeratis around, I'm sorry. And that's Shawami into the wall. I believe he tapped Slim Sign there, trying to get back on the track. And he has found himself hard into the wall, and it was Alids. I'm very sorry, I keep confusing the blue Porsches. As that's Ryan, I believe, looking for a move. Oh no, Bowie, excuse me. Bowie has made the move up into first place, and that has relegated Javier on the defensive from Crazy. So the KTM surged, surprisingly, but now Crazy looking for a move on Javier. He knows he needs to get the move done right now. Beckerat is looking on the back of Ryan. So I'm sorry that it's Bowie who has taken the official lead on the defensive from Javier here as they head down into the elevation part of Sector 2 here. Look in the background. Husa up to 8th place so far. Joe up to 6th place, surprisingly, from his last place start, actually. Ryan looking a little bit on crazy here. Although these guys have to stay in a little bit of a line right now. Beckerat is kind of being the separation of these two groups at the current moment. This is kind of have the start of 2 separate packs working. Actually, 3 separate packs. It's Julian fighting with Slim Sign in the background who made contact with someone, but up front it is Javier and Bowie. They both run a little bit wide, as that's GTS very wide. We have the slipstream, 3 sets of cars with the slipstream actually going down into turn 3. That's can they make it stick around the outside? Javier on the outside of Bowie. Can they do something around turn 3? No, Bowie will stick in the lead. I'm sorry that I'm having so much trouble talking. I'm not used to saying that Bowie is the leader, actually.
Well, there is Ryan Ruby looking to try and make a chance on Crazy right now as we head down towards turn 4.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh, that was close. That was close between the 2 Aston Martins there. Crazy had to back out of that one, and he's lost a lot of time. And Ryan Ruby right behind, as you can see there. Javier now trying to go around the outside at turn 6. It doesn't work out, and he'll try and cut back down towards turn 7.
Yeah, Javier was trying to set up a move. Crazy, not anticipating him to slow down that much, has left him very susceptible to Ryan as now the pack starts to group up here, actually, as Javier really down to the inside. The touch, there's a little bit of contact, actually, with Bowie. Although I think they've kept it mostly fair. Javier will have the preferred line going through this. Will Bowie decide to stick his nose back around the outside? Javier does have the speed, and now Bowie looking to cut back inside. However, Crazy is also there looking to the inside of Bowie. Crazy down the inside of Bowie. Looks like he will make the move stick, and that's a little bit of contact. Bowie takes a little bit of off-road.
Absolutely, it's very close between these 3 right now. Here comes Crazy once again on the left-hand side of Bowie. Looks like he makes the move stick as we go through turn 2, but look at the 2 KTMs then as we head up the hill now towards turn 3. They're surely not going to make it 3 wide through here. That's Bowie going up the inside, and they make contact between the 2. But Crazy just about keeps ahead, then Bowie in 3rd, Ryan Ruby in 4th. Watch out for, that looks like Joe Black there in the background. Putting some pressure on Beckeratis now as we head down towards turn 4. But all this battling is allowing Javier to get away. Here comes Bowie round the outside. Has he overcooked it though? Still on the outside, gets onto the curb and loses out big time there. Now down to Ryan Ruby, who takes 3rd place in this one. This battle for 2nd place is getting intense then. And Beckeratis, what happened to him? He was holding on to...
Yeah, he ran wide. Ran wide, and that's allowed Joe and GTS to now get into 5th and 6th place. That's Ryan off. So Ryan getting just as flustered as his teammate, actually. KTMs have not been working well with each other so far today.
Absolutely, as we head now down towards turn 9, Ruby backs out of that one, but he's still putting that pressure on Bowie. And at the moment, as we head now on to lap number 4, Javier now has that 2.4 second lead over Krazer. And Krazer finds himself up to 2nd place. There's GTS, Javier's teammate, putting some pressure on Joe Black here. And there's battles up and down the field.
Ooh, Crazy!
That's
Spun
Krazer
it.
gone.
He spun it around.
Crazy spun. And I doubt I want to hear anything that's happening inside that car right now. Probably a lot of expletives.
Yeah, Crazy just getting it all wrong. I believe just wheel hopped it off at turn 1. But now that has promoted the 2 KTMs into 2nd and 3rd. Joe Black is now up to 4th, along with GTS in 5th behind him, and Huso, who I believe had to take evasive actions around Crazy, as he was slotting right in front of Bekaratis, who is now being hounded by Slim Sign behind him. And Alex also trying to recover. Swami, I think, still has that earlier damage. I don't think he's decided to pit. So let's just see.
Just to remind everybody, there's no need for any mandatory stops. You do not have to stop in this race. So if you have that damage and you have to pit in, that could effectively mean that's the end of your run.
Well, it's not only the KTMs fighting, but it's a huge battle for 6th place. Husa doing everything he can, Crazy trying to regain the spots he did have before, but it's GTS looking out and in. But he goes very wide, actually, very far. He's looking to go all the way to Germany with that move.
Crazy here, looking at the back of Husa now. As we go into the switch, you can see 2 separate battles happening ahead of them. We've got to keep our eye on them. Here comes Crazy then, who's looking around the outside as we head towards turn 1. For the 5th time this race, can he make that move stick? Husa tries to stop the inside, but he'll run wide, and Krazer will run even wider then to try and take the position. And all this means then is Bekaratis behind them is looking to try and take advantage, along with Slim Sign as well, as we now head our way through turn 2, now up to turn 3. This could be a great scrap here.
Husa backs him. He blocks Bekaratis. Unbelievable.
We head towards turn 3, and somehow they all make it through in one piece there. And Crazy up to 6th place. Oh, the Porsche's
contact off with the Slim Sign, I believe, just coming off the corner. I don't think Slim Sign saw him. Either that or Becker just came across him, but either way, no harm, no foul there.
Crazy up to 6th place, then looking to recover from that spin, and he's going in the right direction, that's for sure. And on lap 5 then is Javier in the lead. I don't think Husa's done with that battle for 6th place yet. Meanwhile, in these 2 KTMs, the Stroopwaffle team, yes, that's their name, so they'll make their way towards turn 9. They've really got to work together here, because they're in a good position here to score some points for their team. But I suppose when it comes down to the championship battle, that's all that matters right now.
Well, Ryan looking for his 2nd podium finish in a row. Bowie looking to just finish, actually. But here's GTS looking for an inside move on Joe Black. Is a little bit going to the inside. Joe tries to cover him off a little bit there. But, the tagging a little bit. They're pushing one another actually down the front straight. I don't know if that's quite exactly what you need to be doing, but as GTS runs very wide. However, he will try to keep his speed off of turn 1, but these 2 are definitely looking like they were pushing each other, albeit maybe unintentionally. Maybe the cars just kind of got stuck together, actually.
Maybe, and I think GTS just played to one side and let the Mustang through. It didn't look like he put up too much of a fight for that one, but have a look at that battle between Slim Sign and Bekaratis as we head now up towards turn 3. That's Slim Sign who has the inside line. Will they give each other the room? Slim Sign having to take that tighter angle means that he doesn't get the exit that he wants there. It stays behind the Porsche.
Meanwhile, up front, the battle for the 2nd and 3rd place still rages on. Joe still, well, this isn't the first time Joe has sort of been this kind of roadblock to higher positions albeit he is in the car to be a designated roadblock, but surprisingly, from starting last, he's made us all the way back up to 4th. Husa only in 7th right now, comparatively. So, definitely just a factor of the KTMs right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, that's Alex! I believe
Husa. Down there
Husa.
by Husa.
Yeah, Husa absolutely did not want him to pass. Alex looking a little worse for wear, actually. Maybe just a little bit startled. Don't think there was contact. I think it was, ooh, it's crazy around again. It's a crazy.
Something's definitely not right with that car. You can't keep it in a straight line. But
there's a slip sign.
Really wide here.
Oh, crazy's got damage. He's bended into the wall.
You can see there, Alex on the outside.
Ooh, there's contact with Alex and Slim Sign, yeah. So I believe Crazy just got it wrong off the last corner again. We've seen him do it a lot, actually, at Spain too, but now Slim Sign blocking Crazy on the inside. He's going to have to resort to the outside. They will take Alex 3 wide. Slim Sign cuts back in. Oh, that's not worked well for Alex and Crazy. Slim Sign tried to cut back inside to try to get a better run, and that's just not worked.
3 wide through there doesn't normally work. And as you can see, then Slim Sign is running off in the distance. Meanwhile, huge battle for 2nd place going on still. These KTMs are battling with each other.
I think they're just having fun at this point. I think they've realized the need to not force this sort of issue. I think they're going to be robust but fair. Meanwhile, GTS has managed to get around Joe Black. And behind him, Husa starting to get away from Beccarat just a little bit, actually. Ooh,
Joe for a move up the inside of turn 9.
Oh, and there he goes.
GTS.
I don't think GTS was expecting that, as Beccarat just gets back around Husa. Slim Sign catching up to them. Yeah, GTS wasn't expecting an early move, although Joe Black will slow down to let him through, but this has now turned into a 5-way fight, as that's Crazy in the wall again, I believe. And now you got 5 cars battling for 4th position. Beccarat has somehow gotten himself back up into 5th place. Joe, I really don't understand why he slowed down there, as, ooh, cuts a little bit back inside of Husa. I mean, I understood why he slowed down for sportsmanship and all, but you're in the middle of a race, man. You can't be doing that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he was planning to do. Coming into turn 9 there, as you can see, he's now being hounded by Husa behind him as we head up the hill now towards turn 3. Joe Black again tries to get the inside of Beccaratis. That time, the Porsche does leave him space. And again, you know, battling with GTS there, I don't understand where the room's going to be for that Mustang. They run now side by side, Porsche and Mustang, down towards turn 4. And we get the braking right this time around. Joe Black, he leaves it late. Still got the inside line at turn 4. Time keeps the car intact. You can see the other 2 KTMs right behind there. They'll want to get past sooner rather than later. You see now Beccaratis is still trying to make a move, but that's inside running slightly deep through turn 7 there. Still managing to pick up the car and recover. Beccaratis still putting that Mustang under pressure.
I noticed Husa let his teammate Slim Sign go. Either he's going to let Slim Sign get a chance at these two if he knows he's faster, or Husa just not wanting to get into any sort of trouble. But Slim Sign will try to look down the inside of Beccaratis. He will make the sort of pass. Actually keeps it on the grass, keeps it on the road there. You don't want to run in the grass here, but GTS, the main benefactor out of all of this, has got himself into 4th, even after spinning.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a result like this, doesn't it, GTS? And then here comes Beccaratis up the inside of the KTM then as they head through turn 1. And that is Slim Sign there, just about holding on then. And you can see Husa there, trying to put some pressure on the both of them now. They run in tandem through turn 2, now towards turn 3. It looks like it's going to be 3 wide, but that is Husa backing out of it then as we head now up towards turn 2. Once again, that KTM up the inside. They give each other the room there that they need. The Porsche on the outside gets the better exit, and Beccaratis holds off the KTMs for now.
Crazy decides it's enough damage, so he's going to pit here. Real unfortunate for him, considering he was up in the 2nd, but he's really fast, but he needs to be consistent. That's what's killed him these last few races. But now Slim Sign, Garage is on the curb a little bit, has to make way for Slim Sign as they go now into Sector 2 here, KTM versus Porsche. Will Slim Sign be able to make the move here? He's kind of being hustled a little bit by his teammate, I believe, but they still managed to keep it side by side. Were we saying these guys probably weren't going to make moves through here? Well, here you go.
I said don't be surprised, and I didn't realise this would be every single lap so far.
Ooh, once again. Yeah.
Oh,
oh no,
Beccaratis around. Oh my goodness.
No.
I pulled up the timing screen because I panicked. But that is Beccaratis around, and well, I don't know about that one. Some would say Rubbish Racing. I think that crossed the line slightly there.
Yeah, it was the same thing that happened to Joe and GTS. They kind of touched once and the cars wouldn't get off of one another. And that has not ended well for Beccaratis at all. I don't know whose fault that was. Both of their cars just kind of, I don't know. They were like magnets to each other.
Alex now gets through. Alex, who a couple of laps ago was nowhere near this battle, now gets his way past the KTM, but doesn't get the exit of turn 3 right then, as Husa looks to hound him and harry him as they head now down towards turn 4. Porsche has that power to just get away, and this is what we were saying during practice and qualifying. This is where the KTM will struggle in these high power sections, especially against the Porsche engine. Husa running into the back there of Alex.
He tried to cut back a little bit. I don't think he anticipated just how much Alex would slow up there. Schwami has also come into the pits. I believe he has damage too, probably compounded with some of his earlier damage. So that Porsche's day has gone from bad to worse, but right now the field kind of spreading out a little bit actually. And so the only one close, I believe Joe and Slim Sign actually.
Lap 11 of this one then, Javier leads the way by 14.6. As for him, normality resumes. And that is, as you say, Schwami coming into the pits there. And well, the top 9 here all haven't stopped. So in theory, they're still in the shout of a good result here. They just have to keep it on the track. And well, Beccaratis here will feel like will feel very hard done by, I think.
Once again, a shame that Red disconnected from the pole position, actually. He's looking for his chance to rebound after Spain, but he will have to wait another week as Javier looks to kind of take off after his incidents too, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Remember that time he got spun around and still went on to win the race.
Well, this time he disconnected and still went on to win the race.
Well, we're not halfway through yet. I wouldn't be so quick to that one. Here we go then. You can see Slimside just hounding.
Ooh!
Joe Black, and Slimside goes for a move up the inside there. They just got to calm it down just slightly. There was no way that KTM was getting past in turn 6 there.
He looked for it. He didn't think that Joe would close the door on him. It was just a little bit of contact though. Luckily they spun in the direction of the corner, so it evened the car out, but definitely startled him a little bit.
Well, Joe Black had that incident earlier on through turn 9. I'm wondering there if that's a little bit of a revenge swipe there. It's frowned upon, revenge ones. As you sort of say, well, leave it up to the stewards, but you know, when you're on the track there, I guess you throw caution to the wind. Anyway, let's focus on this race.
Alex.
Well, that's it. Alex there. Now he's vulnerable from Husa behind him, and Husa, you can sense there, senses the opportunity, gets into the slipstream now as we head our way through turns 2 and 3. I doubt he'll be able to capitalise it unless he leaves his braking really late here. He's looking for the move, is he? Up towards turn 3. But yeah, can't quite take advantage of that one.
I was going to say, Alex just wheel hopping a little bit off the turn there. definitely made him very susceptible, actually.
Sometimes still putting Joe Black under a bit of pressure. Meanwhile, Husa down into the braking zone of 4 here. Looking to still put that pressure on the Porsche as we see Joe Black around once again. That was him on his own that time.
He just, once again, just wheel hopping, actually.
Quite a few spins today, some with contact, some without, and that's something I wasn't expecting, especially the ones that, you know, have been all on their own. Crater, for example, spun, what is it, 3 times now? 2 times in the same place.
As the field sort of gets spread out here, will definitely be more of attrition, actually, as we go on. Track does have a high fuel consumption like Daytona, so I wonder, these guys probably won't have to make any pit stops, but we'll just keep an eye on their fuel limits right now. Right now it's been all Javier with the 2 KTMs surprisingly being in 2nd and 3rd. Everyone else has kind of just been in battles this entire time, so they haven't had time to really catch these 3.
I think as well, when it comes down to it, you've got Javier obviously breaking away. You'd expect that for now, but when we were talking about the KTMs, you know, they're lacking that power. We've seen that over the season. Through the corners though, they're much, much better. But it seems like everything's just happened behind them and they're able to just get on with it, put their heads down and set those laps that they need to.
That's true, everyone behind them has been involved with some midfield battles so far, but who knows, maybe on the longer run we could see some runs, maybe the upper mid pack actually. GTS has broken away. Ooh, as Ryan, it was really hard in the grass. I think just a little bit of an evasive maneuver actually. I can't tell if these two are just fighting here for the sake of fighting or Ryan is actually keeping Bowie honest.
Whatever they're doing, it seems to cost them a little bit of time. Obviously, they want to run in tandem there. That's easier said than done. They'll make their way up. That's a Porsche going wide. That is Schwami running wide. Turn 1. Then these 2 teammates here have to sort of decide what they're going to do at the moment in time. Obviously, they're behind each other. Obviously, against their delta, they don't seem to be doing too badly, but through these corners, if they're running side by side with each other, they're making mistakes like that, obviously they've got to think about their strategy. They're running quite comfortably though, blocking out this podium spot right now and building that gap to GTS, and I think that's all they're looking for right now.
That's what I was thinking too. They're definitely just working with each other, trying to get away. They were definitely near each other in qualifying, so maybe that wasn't a coincidence. Maybe their plan all along was to kind of work together in a sort of tandem. But let's go back to Alex in 6th place. Alex, so far doing pretty much what he needs to. He hasn't kind of been up here in the past couple of races, usually due to some incidents, but who knows, maybe some luck can shine on him today. He definitely needs it.
Yeah, absolutely. He is driving a good race right now. Of course, still a long, long way to go. He's just got to keep his head down and keep winning those lap times. And as you say, the field is spread out now to pretty much a healthy gap between each driver. So now it becomes this sort of making your car to the end now. You don't want to make those silly mistakes. You've had all your battles, you've had all those first 10 lap madness. Now it's time to concentrate. Now it's time to focus on those lap times and see if you can close the gap to the car ahead.
Now, Husa's only in 7th place right now. Definitely, well, he's been known to qualify relatively badly, but he's always been able to find his way to the front. Not so much this race, actually. He's been involved in his fair share of incidents, so that's kind of compounded him from getting to the front, which is both a little surprising and unsurprising, actually, because we didn't expect the KTMs to be as good as what Bowie and Ryan are kind of showing us to be, but at the same time, Husa has been known to kind of slip through the field like Joe Black did, but they've kind of found themselves stationary in 7th and 8th right now.
I think with Husa, obviously he's 20 seconds off where I thought he was going to be. But again, it's still a long race. We've still got 21 laps to go. And anything can happen in that time.
It's true.
Yes, other two KTMs, Bowie and Ruby here. And like we were saying before, as Ruby just runs a little bit wide on the entry of turn 10, as we were saying, Cypher, we were expecting these KTMs to struggle, but they've definitely proved us wrong. I don't know. I've proven I'm not good out on the track. Am I even good in the commentary box?
Well, we all make wrong assumptions.
I make these bold claims, Cypher, and I don't think one of them has come true.
I think that's just racing experience. I mean, I've been in the car probably more than you have, so...
Especially these cars.
Yeah, so... I mean... You're not wrong. It's definitely... We're definitely being a little bit shocked here, but... I'm more interested with what these two are actually going to do. Considering... Well... I mean, obviously they're teammates, so they don't want to wreck each other, but... I half expect Bowie to kind of move aside and let maybe Ryan take the lead, unless Bowie is kind of the designated car to bring them both up through the field. So, I don't know. Definitely something new here.
Could be a strategic one, although I'm not sure how that would benefit them. Obviously, believe it or not, Bowie is all the way down in 14th place in the driver's standings, and Ryan Ruby is up in 3rd. So you would assume at some point that Bowie might move out of the way and let Ryan through for championship battle stakes, especially when he's so close to that 2nd place or 3rd place battle, I should say.
Well, that's what we just don't know. We don't know if these two are legitimately fighting, and it's just a coincidence that they happen to be two teammates this close to each other, or they really are just kind of working together as a team. We'll just have to wait and see what their plan is. I don't know, chat. What do you think? Do you think they're just working together right now? If so, then who... Well, this is technically the battle for who I said was going to get the podium position, so it would kind of come down to one of these two.
Well, it looks like developing behind. So there's Joe Black. You can see the Porsche there of Beccaratis just closing up. That's about for 8th place. It's worth keeping an eye on that one as well. And Joe Black's car has been in the wars, that's for sure. That was spinning on the exit of turn 4, just going into turn 5. And then we saw Joe Black go around all on his own, and he sustained damage from that, but he stayed out. Beccaratis is catching him now.
Yeah, just Joe going very far back from his really good start. I believe his pace has just been compounded by the incidents he's had. So, falling back into the hands of Beccaratis, who's trying to make something happen again. Of course, Beccaratis has been in his fair share of incidents as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Beccaratis here has already been spun around and had to go around 360 degrees, but he now finds himself in this battle to get past the Mustang, and this is a movie he wants to make, he really needs to make, and it might open up an opportunity to get an inroad towards Huso. You never know.
That's true. In terms of some of the fast guys who have found themselves at the back, Crazy, who I believe made a pit stop as well, so he will be mired about 1 lap down from here on out. And well, in terms of some of the other, well, the lesser talked about today, KTM of Slim Sign, who has been involved in a whole slew of incidents actually, with contact from several different drivers. So he's sitting up in 5th right now, so maybe it isn't a coincidence that the KTMs are doing this well. Maybe we just underestimated their lack of top speed, as now Beccaratis makes a move down on Joe. Beccaratis definitely, or Joe, maybe just cutting a little inside, but no contact made between the two of them.
right on that battle. Well, the two KTMs of the Stroopwafel team are holding on to second and third place here. I wonder this will do a fantastic amount for their team battle. You see, that is the black marker of Crazer there, right behind Ryan Ruby, and Ruby here is starting to drop away from his teammate right now.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. I believe Crazy actually has better pace than these two, but like I said, obviously he's minor lap down. But Ryan has fallen away from him, so either a mistake or it's just generally fallen back, as Becaratis has managed to find a way around Joe Black.
Yeah, and apologies we missed that one. It was one of the battles we had to watch. And Becaratis making his way through. Now we'll have to see what his pace is like and see if he closes that gap on Husa. You can see there, Husa 58 seconds behind the leader. Becaratis 1 minute 6.
Ooh, there's with Ryan and Bowie, I believe. There's they were getting compacted. Yeah, they were mired in some very heavy traffic. I believe that was Max Blue there. And so that's slowed up Bowie a little bit, and Ryan has caught up.
Yeah, and what that also means is that Crazy moves past Max Blue and all that confusion. There is his spun again!
Oh,
and there's Max Blue into him!
And that's Swami now going to get past Max Blue there, because they were on the same lap. As Crazy is now officially DNF'd from this race, so a good day gone terribly, terribly bad. Two bad races in a row for Crazy. Unfortunate there.
Yeah, and that was his fourth spin of the race. I think he just packed it in and decided enough was enough. And I wonder if he was happy with the car, because obviously it's spinning, it spun without any damage. I wonder if there was a setup issue with that one, because spinning 4 times in a race raises some serious concern in the stability of that Porsche.
Aston Martin.
Aston Martin, you see, mistakes galore tonight from me.
We were looking at a Porsche, so your mind.
That's a fantastic excuse. I'm going to use that one.
That's Max Blue not pitting, so the damage for him might be minor. Swami will look to get away in the 10th position right now. But right now they got a huge pack of lap cars that might be. Oh, I wonder who's in that Becaratis. So Joe has actually still maintained the gap there.
He has, but he seems to be running wide. He ran wide on the exit of turn 9, ran wide on the exit of turn 10. He's got to be careful then. Otherwise he risks himself getting a slap on the wrist from the stewards. If we head now up towards turn 1, you see there, looking to keep that gap as best he can, John Black.
Well, he's in Becaratis' slipstream, so he is there if he does manage to run wide. Becaratis hasn't had the cleanest record so far this race, so a mistake could cost them.
I'll tell you what, the gap between Husa and Becaratis is pretty stable right now. If it's going anywhere, it's going in Husa's favour right now.
Well, I was just about to say it's Slim Sign, who I believe is making inroads on GTS, as Ryan is in the pits. Let's go on board. Does he have any sort of damage? Doesn't appear to be anything wrong with him. Was it some sort of overheating issue? I mean, he was running behind his teammate for 20 laps straight.
No tyre changes at all. Looks like it's only fuel being added. Maybe there is damage to that car that we can't see, but what a terrible day for Ryan Ruby right now. Unless this was a scheduled stop, obviously lap 20, but no change of tyres seems to be starting to stop. I think there is damage to that car, we just can't really see it.
Yeah, very strange, but once again, well, actually no, this Ryan looks like will not get a podium here today like he did in Spain. Very strange issue. We're not really sure what's wrong with that KTM. We'll have to see later, but he will come out right behind this battle of Becaratis and Joe. So let's see if maybe Ryan can make up a few more places, but this now promotes GTS into the podium position. But I say that with a pinch of salt because Slim Sign has actually cut the gap down quite significantly over the past couple laps.
Yeah, no, it's a bit weird because obviously Ruby's had to come into the pits and gets a decent exit off turn 3 down the slipstream of Joe Black as he now head down the hill.
Interesting to note, Ryan actually hasn't taken any fuel, so it must have been something damage worthy that he had to pit for, considering it's not fuel as both of them make contact there.
Well, that's not going to help the damage front.
Yeah. Of course, we didn't see anything on the KTM, so it must be something only the driver can see. Probably only mechanical or engine worthy there, but Ryan definitely has the pace to get around him, but he needs to be patient. Just I was right into the back of Joe there. Let's not be impatient.
I think that's the complete opposite of you being patient. Here we go now up the hill towards turn 9. He's now going to try and go round the outside as Joe Black tries to get the inside line as he made that move successfully around the outside.
Oh no, he cuts back in.
Turn 10, he cuts back in, and Joe Black just about gets the car stopped. And Ruby then up to 8th place on his charge back through the field now. He's got a lot of time to make up, and he's got himself past Joe Black. Indeed.
And now Ryan will have to set his sights on Baratis for 7th place. So you see, Bowie, well, I assume nothing's wrong with his car considering he's still in this race, but still just a wonder what's happened to Ryan's car. He's had to make a seemingly unscheduled pit stop.
Yeah, it could have been some sort of mechanical issue. Maybe he had to come into the pits for the team to fix it, of course. But I guess we won't know now until the race is over now. In any case, Ruby has to push now because he is a long, long way back from his teammate now, 50 seconds back. That's how much that pit stop cost him.
Right now, as it stands, field very much spread out. So Javier has essentially been your leader from, well, not so much pole, but he was the first on the grid. Bowie and Ryan were 2nd and 3rd, but due to some circumstances, Ryan has now found himself back into 8th place. GTS in the surprise podium spot, actually, for now, of course, although Slim Sign, who has also kind of started further in the back than I'm sure he would like, has now made himself up to 4th. Aled's looking for one of his best finishes in 5th place right now. Husa in 6th place, a decent effort for considering where he started. And Beccaratis, we'll see right about here, is going to find a fast KTM in his mirror sooner rather than later, actually. Joe Black 9th, Schwami in 10th, who was one of the earlier cars who made a pit stop for an incident earlier. Maxley and Julian round out the top 12. And Crazy has DNF from this race along with Red at the beginning.
I would technically say Red DNS'd. Didn't get a chance to go off the grid. Just to be the technical scores, you can see that Beccaratis is really feeling the pressure there. Turned in early into this turn 4 there to go defensive. You can see that Beccaratis is feeling the pressure.
Agree, but where will he try to make the move? Hopefully it won't end in as much contact as he did trying to get around the Mustang of Joe. But definitely
gets the exit of 7 and 8, right? Just look at this. Look how much more grip he had through turn 7. He might have a chance here coming up towards turn 9. He might think about it, that's for sure. He's gone for moves there before. And I think he might go for a move again. No, this time he backs out of this one. Beccaratis there, breaking late.
Oh no!
Driving down up the inside. Just taps the back of the Porsche then and almost loses himself in that battle there. Keeps it all under control though, and he lives to fight another day.
He was looking to the pit lane there, but Ryan incredibly aggressive. He's just hitting car after car at this point.
Going through turn 1. Looks like he's got a much better exit out of turn 1 here. You can see the speed difference now between the two of them. As the KTM pulls to the right-hand side of the track, making their way now up towards turn 2. You can see the speed difference in the Porsche there, able to just pull away again, even without the slipstream. Ryan Ruby up the inside, Beccaratis knows he's there. Ryan Ruby has to run the curb there on the inside, but I don't think that's affected his, on his exit too much, I was about to say, until he drops back behind. As we now head down towards turn 4. Very interesting battle between these two.
Yeah, Beccaratis hesitated. He didn't notice Ryan there till last moment as there he slid the car there. A little small rear lockup there. But Beccaratis definitely being stumped a little bit by Ryan there, who's absolutely hounding him for the spot. And actually not too far in front of them is actually Husa, but Ryan looking to the inside here through Sector 2. Looks like Beccaratis won't put up too much of a fight in that regard. So Ryan will now be on the chase to Husa, who has dropped actually quite a significant amount of time. So I wonder if there's been an incident between those two.
I wonder, but yep, Ruby makes the move. He's now up to P7. There's his next target, who's not very far up the road. It's Husa. And from the look of it, his car looks okay from the exterior. Of course, we have no idea how his engine's performing, how his gearbox is performing. We have no idea what the tyres are like. So maybe Husa's managing some sort of problem to the end of the race because he's losing time to Ruby there behind.
Well, yeah, Ryan and Beccaratis who were closing in on him even though they were battling. So maybe just a small incident there, but Ryan definitely has a lot more pace than some of the midfield runners, so he could maybe get himself into 6th place before the end of this race, actually.
Just a quick one on Bowden. They're obviously 14th place in the championship, only 20 points this season so far. And obviously a 2nd place here will it'll benefit the Street Waffle team, of course, but it's also going to benefit Javier because now with obviously Red not in the race, we've got Husa down in P6, Beccaratis, he's in 8th place. This is only going to benefit Javier even more.
Ryan stuck on the curb a little bit there, although managed to keep the car in one piece. He hasn't managed to get away from Beccaratis as quickly as we thought, so the gap is stabilized here. So wonder if Beccaratis is just being carried by Ryan's slipstream now a little bit.
I think so. We already know how powerful that Porsche engine is versus the KTM, so I think that the slipstream there is just keeping him in the battle here for 7th place. And even with that slipstream, you can see it was just doing enough to stay ahead here.
And just got a quick word from Crazy, who's obviously got it to be out of the race, but he definitely put on a good show at least very early on. So we'll hope to see him do a little bit better next week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always frustrating. And, well, like you said, hopefully we will see him back next week. And so that looks like a battle there between... Is that
No, that was just him going around the lap car.
I don't know, he flashed his lights quite a lot. Maybe he was just telling him he was right there.
Well, speaking of which, the gap still stays at around 5 seconds between Ryan and Beccaratis, or Ryan and Husa. Ryan and Beccaratis on the chase. So, I definitely wonder if he's got a little bit more pace, because he was able to get past 2 cars. I expected him to at least be a little bit more faster than the respective KTM, actually.
Also watching this battle, there are 10 laps to go in this one. Javier still leads from Bowie in 2nd, GTS in 3rd, and GTS again the podium here in Austria. That's going to help his team out, that's going to help the HRT team out quite a lot. As you can see here, Ryan Ruby now coming up to the back marker of Max Group is using that slipstream as much as he possibly can, flashes the lights to let them know the Mustang he's there, and the Mustang gets straight out of the way. Ryan Ruby makes the lapping. He's now gained a lot of time on Beccaratis behind him.
something that's definitely interesting, actually. Well, these cars should be able to make it on fuel, so I'm trying to ponder what exactly was the reason that Ryan pit. It's definitely because he has just about as much fuel as Husa does.
It could have been mechanical.
Well, yes,
Something
but
wrong with the car that the team didn't fix.
but yes, was it compounded by him running behind his teammate for a bunch of laps, or was it some kind of incident?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think we really saw Ruby in major incidents before his pit stop. So something tells me that the team were worried about something in the car, or maybe he was given a mechanical flag. We don't really know. So the only way we'll find out, it's Ryan Ruby runs wide on the entry turn 8 there. The only reason, or the only way we'll find out is probably by trying to ask him after the race.
True, the gap between Ryan and Husa now drops to around 3 seconds, but Ryan is having a little bit of issue keeping consistency on the road, actually, but these two definitely closing in on each other, and Beccarat is still in the picture despite being the third car in line with these guys.
Absolutely, and if you look behind there, behind Ryan Ruby, that is Javier. The car behind Beccaratis is just about to come through turn 1. Just about saw him at the very top of the picture. Javier is closing in, and well, he's been doing this pretty much all season long, putting that huge gap and lapping as much of the field as he possibly can. And well, I think Javier has got a big future, not just in GT4, but maybe even higher categories.
Indeed, he's definitely proved himself to be quite a step ahead the rest of the competition, really only being outsmarted by Red once time throughout the season, but of course it's only been 6 races. You have to prove yourself in every week and every occasion, so he definitely has quite a bright future.
So the talent is definitely there, and between his team right now, the gap is 46 seconds. Now, okay, GTS has been battling cars, but you would think in the same car would provide the same performance. But in this case, it's almost 1.5, maybe 2 seconds per lap. GTS is lapping slower.
Well, at that point, it's just driver pace, or in this case, setup actually. You don't know how these drivers set up their cars before the race starts. So, I mean, also compounding that GTS had to make his way throughout the field. He didn't start up there beforehand.
Lap 29 then. You can see there. Also being closed in by Ruby, and at quite a rate of knots right now. So we can make our way through turn 2 and up the hill towards turn 3. I think who's just going to be looking in his mirrors a little bit more now, and he'll see that orange and black danger of Ryan Ruby behind him. This will become a battle for 6th place with 7 laps to go.
Yeah, Beccaratis is falling off of these two, and now has got the leader Javier right behind him. So it's, could Javier actually interfere with this battle? It'd be a little interesting to see, actually. Ooh, Ryan stuck on the curb a lot, actually.
I wonder if that cost him a lot of time then as we make our way through turn 6. And I think it has just cost him a slight chunk of time, but at the pace he's going, he'll be able to make that back up as we now head through turn 7, then through turn 8 here. But Ryan here still putting that pressure on Husa. It's one thing catching that car ahead, it's another thing passing them, so let's see how Ruby handles this.
Well, from what we've seen, he's been incredibly aggressive with his passes today, albeit he hasn't had to make too many of them, actually, so maybe Husa will cut him a little bit of a break here. We'll see.
So now make our way up towards turn 1 on board with Ruby now. As you can see, braking just after the 100-meter board, turning into turn 1, just about staying in between the white lines there. I think the wheels were just on that white line, which is legal.
And Javier has gotten around Bowery, so he is closing in on Ryan actually, although Ryan's pace is a little bit more closer to the leaders, so we suspect it'll only be Husa who will hold up Ryan, probably before Javier gets there actually.
These guys in this battle at the moment, they've got 6 laps to go, but at the race Javier is going, that could quickly become 5 laps. Of course, at the top there, the lap counter only applies to the driver we're watching. Javier is actually on lap 31, so we have 5 laps to go.
Indeed.
At the moment then, Ruby is catching, and he's, I think that's just about within a second now. And that is going to apply all that slipstream. It's going to be much better now. Ryan Ruby's going to have a lot more of it than he had before, and he might now try some moves either into turn 1, maybe into turn 3, coming down the hill in towards turn 4. He'll be now trying to weigh up his options. Does he try a move up the inside in towards turn 1? That's on his mind right now. He's in the slipstream right now. Looks like it's a little too far back, but of course, as we head up towards turn 1, you might see that gap close down. And now into the braking zone, well, really too far back into turn 1, but you can see now he gets a much better entry and a much better exit out of the corner. They run side by side now, the 2 KTMs, 2 different teams, but the same car, as they now run through turn 2 and up the hill towards turn 3 now. Ryan Ruby has the outside line, and Husa there. Don't think he was actually going to make too much of a battle out of that. So I think we hyped up a battle that was never going to happen.
Well, I figured Husa wouldn't make too much of a bigger deal out of it. Husa definitely understanding the pace difference, but he wasn't going to put up too much of a fight like Joe and Beccaratis, so maybe just a more experienced standpoint there.
It must be frustrating for Husa there, but he was actually flashing his lights coming up towards turn 1. Maybe that was a signal to Ruby to say, I'm not going to fight you.
Yeah, whoa, Ryan really off in the gravel. It's over the rest of the cones there. It's up on the grass again.
Really pushing it now, yeah. He's got to be careful because he's obviously 6th place. Obviously, he wanted to be on that podium. He had a chance of it, but now he's got to get this car home.
Ooh, Slimstein has fallen very off the pace actually. I wonder if he's had a sort of incident. Hopefully, well, he's nowhere near Alids or GTS, so actually no, wait, maybe he's just a little bit backing off the pace a little bit. I thought he had a much bigger incident.
Javier then starts lap 33. We have 3 laps of this race to go, and I tell you what, we had a manic first 10 laps. It calmed down a bit. We've had some battles in the midfield, and in the end, I think we call this a very successful race. Javier is looking for win number 5, I believe this is.
True, but such a shame. Who knows what would have happened if Red was still here, or Crazy didn't have his spins. We could have seen a much more climactic fight between those two. But, you know, sometimes luck doesn't really go your way sometimes in that regard.
Javier still has to get it to the end. Looks a little bit deep, sort of fall there. He still has to get this car to the end. Obviously, you can see a lot of blue dots on that map. That just shows you how much pace Javier has had in this race. And even I think by his standards, he's backing off at the end of this race.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's lapped up to 3rd place before, so this is mild compared to what he's normally capable of.
Here he comes in down towards turn 9. Looking at the battles here, everyone seems to have that healthy gap. Javier now makes his way through turn 10 and towards the start-finish line, where he will start the penultimate lap of this race.
Meanwhile, Bowie, who looked like... Bowie's only got 3 liters of fuel left, actually. It should be enough to make it to the end, but definitely cutting it quite close. That's why I assumed that they would switch places. Maybe one of them save fuel for the other.
Maybe that was the plan before Ruby came into the pits. But he might have to do a bit of fuel saving of his own here. He can't afford to pit again.
No, I believe he's got just enough actually, since Javier's going to start the final lap next time by. And he's got plenty of a gap from GTS to the point where he can kind of coast into a lot of these corners without too much problem.
You have to keep an eye on though. GTS has got plenty of fuel to get him to the end of the race then. Third place right now, and for the HRT team, it looks like it's going to be a double podium. You see Slim Sign behind. Slim Sign right now, currently 10th place in the championship for Red Dull.
Yeah, Slim Sign, this is going to be an amazing finish for him. He's really needed a finish like this. Kind of been the worst of the KTMs actually, so this will put him back in the spotlight.
There's Alex in first of the Porsches.
Alex, yeah, Alex as well, another driver who's needed a good finish for a while.
But obviously we've talked a lot about Ruby in this race as Javier starts the final lap of this race then. We'll quickly run through the rest of the order. Husa then not had his greatest day at all. But 7th place is better than nothing. We've got Becaratis there as well, who currently 6th place in the championship for Angry Dragon. We've got Joe Black in 9th place, and considering the hectic race he's had, he might take 9th place. We've got Julian in on the last lap.
Swami also having his issues today in the first turn.
Actually there in 12th place. And the Mustangs have had a difficult time with Julian in the pits there, but that is Javier making his way now towards turn 6 and 7. It's been yet another dominant day for Javier.
Bowie's dropped very far off the pace. He's nearly out of gas, and he has to go another lap.
He's not going to make it, surely. I don't think he's going to make it.
He might get as far as Sector 2, but I believe since Javier went another lap, Bowie will have to go another lap as well. But Javier will come across the finish line. Another dominant performance from him, and Javier will win the Austrian Grand Prix. That's a Formula 1. But back on board with Bowie.
And he's out of fuel. Oh, what a disastrous day for Bowie. And the HRT team are going to inherit here. They're going to inherit this one too. And this is hopeless here from Bowie. He parks to the side. Nothing he can do. And he's going to fall his way down. He's not going to finish this race then. And that means GTS then is going to go up to 2nd place. Plenty of fuel to get him to the race. That's going to promote Slim Sign up to 3rd place. And what a slap to the face that is for Bowie. He needed that 2nd place. He wanted it as well to get himself up the standings. But as it stands then, he will not finish this race. That means GTS then is going to come around the final corner. I bet he can't believe it. Now coming around turn 10 and coming towards the line here to take 2nd place. And it is a 1-2 for the HRT team. A great result for them, if not slightly unexpected.
And Slim Sign here. Yeah, he's gonna score his first podium. Somehow defying all odds, Slim Sign will be my pick. I don't think anyone picked him, but congratulations to him. He is the final podium scorer today. Alex also coming across in 4th place. And Ryan also picking up, as well as Husa. So yeah, Bowie is just out of the race. Everyone will pick up an additional spot.
And here then comes across the line to take 4th place. There are Ruby here in 5th place. And that will be only 5 people on the lead lap then. And there are the unofficial results. Javier wins the race. GTS is in 2nd with Slim Sign in 3rd. Alex 4th. Ryan Ruby 5th. With Husa there in 6th place. Becaratis 7th. Joe Black in 8th. With Shwami 9th. And Maxley rounds out the top 10. That was a dramatic final lap, but not meant to be for Bowie. He will be kicking himself.
And with that, who do you think was the driver of the day? Well, who do you think impressed you the most?
I think it's really tough to say. I think GTS had a fantastic race today. He really proved why he should be Javier's teammate. Okay, he finished 58 seconds down, but comparing where he started, he had a fantastic day. I think a huge shout out has to go to Slimsign and Alex. They had a really good race today. Slimsign on the podium for the first time this season. I think he's going to grab my driver of the day.
True, Slimsign, more so than Alex, for me, would be the driver of the day. His first podium, he's got to be happy. Alex has got to be happy that they finished as high as they did. And GTS picking up another podium for them. But obviously a great race all around. Just proves that even at the very end of this race, everything can still happen. And it fell apart for both the KTMs of Ryan and Bowie there at the very end.
Absolutely. Well, how about you guys in the chat? Driver of the day, who was it for you? I mean, as heartbreaking it is for Bowie, he was having an excellent race. He was doing everything right, but just not enough with the fuel management.
That's what we had thought Ryan was kind of sticking behind his teammate for, was because of the fuel differences, but they never swapped. So it was definitely a missed call from their end.
Absolutely, but it has been a really dramatic race for all the right reasons. Plenty of overtakes out on track, plenty of drama, and even a retirement on the very last lap, running out of fuel, the KTM there of Bowie, and I don't think we're going to have, I think we're going to be saying that at the start of next week's show.
Yeah, well, we're just getting the post from Bowie now, actually. Just, we didn't put enough fuel in the car to begin with, according to him, or at least according to what he's thinking. So, just a misfuel, I guess, from the team as a whole.
I think it was one of those positions where he was expected to be lapped by Javier, and when that didn't happen, he left it to the last possible moment to save some fuel, and obviously left it too late.
Well, cars obviously having very different fuel tanks, so what the full capacity of an Aston Martin might give you is not the same for a Porsche. Usually we see the Porsches with fuel issues, but today was the KTMs.
Yeah, absolutely, and it would be a kick to the stomach there for the KTMs there. And, well, they paid the ultimate price. Both of them, well, one of them had to pit in, the other one had to retire. So a truly awful day for both of them.
Well, despite that, it was still quite a really good Grand Prix for us to watch, and we hope you all enjoyed it as well. I have been Cypher Knight 77.
And I've been Kieran McGinley.
And we'll see you next week for another round of Gavra Racing. We'll see you then.